What's going on, y'all? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Um, so today I'm going to speak on a topic about people that use this whole "he's never fought anyone." All right, who did he fight? All right, and I'm not saying it's not important. Okay, when you when two fighters haven't fought and you're having a debate on who's the better fighter, right? Things that you're going to bring up are, you know, their resume, their record. Who have they fought? Who have they beaten? And how did they beat these guys? Okay, was it by knockout? Is it always by decision? Did he have close fights with fighters that are not really considered to be that good? Of course, you're gonna bring up the other things like styles. You're gonna bring up power or speed advantages. Um, you know, physical attributes and stuff like that. You're also gonna bring up age and you're gonna bring up, you know, mentally, if a fighter is mentally prepared to get in the ring. How did they look in their last fight? You know, did they lose? Was it a controversial loss? Was it dominated loss? You know what I'm saying? Wasn't it a knockout? Well, you're gonna bring up all of these things when you're making a debate on why one fighter A is better than fighter B. Okay, fighter A might be the fighter that is a champion, or he might be the more popular fighter. All right, maybe he's on a streak and he has the better resume and everything like that. Okay, fighter B is a guy that's coming up. You know, might be undefeated. You know, might have one loss, might be undefeated, or whatever. But he's on. Let's say he's on a streak. He's on a KO streak. Doesn't have the resume that fighter A has. Hasn't fought the same level as of opposition that fighter A has fought. But this is a fighter that's on the come up, and he's in the at least in a discussion of a possible title shot. You know, getting in the ring with fighter A. Um, you know, a lot of people want to see that fight because this guy is on the come up. You can say like Keith Thurman and Floyd Mayweather. A lot of people don't think Keith Thurman is shouldn't even belong in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, and some people believe that Keith Thurman can beat Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Um, they're both undefeated, you know, but we already know that Floyd Mayweather has the more impressive resume. Now, um, there's a lot of times where people have used that excuse, and I think they're a little bit too extreme with it. Okay, um, we all know, if you think of it hypothetically, at some point in every boxer's career, they didn't fight anyone. You know what I'm saying? At some point when they were coming up and they were undefeated or whatever, there was a point where they didn't have, you know, top competition because most fighters don't come in as a professional and start fighting champions. You know, they don't do that. You know, they usually build up their career. They could go 20, 30 fights without even getting a title shot. You know what I'm saying? It happens all the time. Um, but when they finally do step up and they do get their shot, and even if they are the complete underdog, we've seen plenty of upsets, okay? Sometimes it's not even upset. Some people believe that, you know, I mean, some of the fighter A might be on his last days, or, you know, a lot of people just consider fighter A to be, you know, the heavy favorite to win a fight. But the point that I'm trying to make here is when you're saying that, like when you use that term, he hasn't fought anyone, all right, that can't be your only reasoning for a fight not to take place, okay? Um, if fighter A refuses to fight fighter B, now let me not keep saying fighter A and fighter B. I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, we have Adonis Stevenson, okay, and we got Sergey Kovalev. There's a lot of people want to see this fight. I mean, the commentators ask Adonis Stevenson at the end of the fights, all right, who does he want to fight next? Sergey Kovalev, same thing. You know, he's calling out Adonis Stevenson. Adonis Stevenson left HBO, went over to Showtime. I feel a lot of people feel that was a duck. All right, a lot of people feel that Stevenson is avoiding a fight with Kovalev. Okay, Stevenson, in my opinion, does have the more impressive resume. All right, he does. Um, but Kovalev is undefeated. Okay, he's beating the guys that he should beat, and he's knocking them out. Okay, that actually matters today. I think people tend to forget that just because you don't have big names on your resume, even though you're fighting people and if you're fighting people and you're knocking them out, you should get some credit for that. I know at times I've criticized Deontay Wilder, okay, for not having anyone on his resume. But at the same time, he's doing what he's supposed to do. Okay? He's knocking out these guys. He's not making it competitive. He's knocking them all out. All right? But going back to my point about Adonis Stevenson, a lot of people feel that is a duck. Now, if you don't feel that it is a duck and you think that Adonis Stevenson is better, all right, then why not? Why shouldn't the fight happen? Kovalev is only going to step up when he gets that shot in competition. What do you think Kovalev has to do to fight every single person that Stevenson has fought? No. Sometimes, you know what? People want the fight. There's a demand for the fight. Why isn't the fight happening? Adonis Stevenson is looking to fight others, and he's not trying to fight Kovalev. He's made the excuse of, well, he wants more money to fight Kovalev. All right, but why do you want more money to fight Kovalev? You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why, because there's some respect there. He knows that it's a dangerous fight. There is some respect there. But the fans, the problem with some of the fans, they say things like, well, Kovalev hasn't fought anyone. You know, Stevenson is not running from him. He's not ducking from him. I'm not saying Stevenson is ducking him, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the fight should happen, okay? Because people want to see it. And the guy's an undefeated fighter. Why is he, you know, why shouldn't the fight happen? But the problem is also as well, you got to remember, in defense of Adonis Stevenson, you got fans out there that they think because Adonis Stevenson doesn't fight Kovalev, that Kovalev is automatically better, you know, because Stevenson is ducking. He's ducking him. Kovalev is a better. Let's say if Stevenson is clearly ducking this guy. Let's say Kovalev goes on to beat John Pascal and knocks out Bernard Hopkins. Let's just say, you know, and Stevenson still doesn't fight him, okay? I would think that would be a duck, you know? I mean, why wouldn't you want to fight him at this point? But that didn't happen. But what if that did happen and he just refused to fight him? If the fight doesn't take place, it's all speculation. You cannot make an argument and say that a fighter is better than another based on the fact that he hasn't fought him, or he chooses not to fight him. If the fight doesn't happen, you just can't say it. There's no proof because they didn't fight. They didn't fight. So in Adonis Stevenson defense, you fans, you can't just go and say that a guy is better because he refuses to fight the guy that you want him to fight. You know, it's not a duck. It might be a duck, but it doesn't prove anything if they don't fight. Because all we know, Stevenson might fight this guy eventually and knock him out in the first round. Then what? You know what's going to happen, right? The guys that say, oh, Stevenson doesn't have to fight him because Kovalev hasn't fought anyone. Okay, if they fight the guys that were favoring Stevenson from the beginning, you know what they're going to say, right? Told you guys, you know, Stevenson, you know, Kovalev never fought anyone. I told you guys he would knock him out. I told you guys he was overrated. But if Kovalev goes in there and knock him out, you know what the people that like Kovalev said? Oh, see, this proves that Stevenson was ducking him all of this time. You know, that kind of stuff. This is why the fights need to happen, because you're leaving it up to the fans to sit here and make excuses. The fans that favor Stevenson, they want to protect him, you know, and say, oh, well, Stevenson doesn't need to fight him because Kovalev haven't fought anyone yet. You know, and if guys that are pro-Kovalev are going to be like, well, Stevenson is ducking him, and he knows, you know, Kovalev would knock him out. You know what I'm saying? Tired of the back and forth. But that was just one example. Going back to Deontay Wilder, same thing with him. You know, I've criticized him before, but guess what? I'm not going to sit here and say, well, Bermane Stiverne don't need to fight him. I like Bermane Stiverne. I like Chris Arreola. I've said that I want to see Deontay Wilder fight both of those guys, even before Arreola and Stiverne fought the second fight. You know, I've said that, but I'm not going to sit here and say, well, Deontay Wilder didn't fight anyone, so he doesn't deserve a title shot. He doesn't deserve a shot at Klitschko because Wilder, look at his resume. I'm not going to say that, you know. Even if I think Klitschko would win the fight needs to happen. I want to see the fight to happen for me to prove my point, all right, about a fighter being better than another one, you know. People act like the outcome of a fight, there's some kind of expert or something. You pick fighter A or B. Those are only two choices. You pick this fighter or this fighter. You only have two options. One is going to win, one is going to lose, unless there's a draw. You know, you don't predict draws. But You're gonna predict that a fight might be competitive or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're gonna pick a winner and loser. Okay, between two fighters. It's not four, it's not six, it's not eight fighters. You know what I'm saying? This is not a tournament. All right, you're picking either fighter A or fighter B. And if your fighter that you favor wins, then that's it. You called it. Good job. You know what I'm saying? That it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Okay? I think fans need to stop saying the whole he never fought anyone. Okay? You know what? Let's see him fight the guy that people want to see him fight. And if he loses, what's the big deal? Okay? If you favor the champion to win, the top guy to win, the guy with the more impressive resume to win, and it happens, then you know what? You picked a good choice. That's all it means. That's all it means, all right? Guys want to come up that don't have the same opposition, the level of skills. You know what I'm saying? People are making this argument in my comments about Lomachenko or Gary Russell Jr. Who's better? Lomachenko was more of an impressive amateur. Well, Gary Russell was a pretty damn good amateur too. Okay? I mean, Lomachenko got the better resume, Lomachenko probably fought the better fighters as a pro. But, Gary Russell has been a professional for 20-something fights. You know what I'm saying? You could go back and forth. We're not going to know until they actually fight, okay? But fans saying that a fight shouldn't take place because of someone's resume, he hasn't fought anyone, stuff like that, sounds more like you're protecting a specific fighter, The fighter that you favor, you're protecting them. You don't want them to fight because if you're wrong, you're going to be worried. You know what you're going to say? Oh, damn. I guess he was. I guess he was. Everybody says that about Golovkin too. Sergio Martinez. I'll see. Sergio Martinez is trim. I think Golovkin could beat Sergio Martinez. But I respect the fact Sergio Martinez is the champ. He is the guy. He has the resume. He is a great middleweight. He was a great middleweight. But now that he lost to Cotto, it's like, oh, he's washed up. One fight could change everything. One fight changes the opinions of everything. You say someone is great until they lose, and then now it's like, oh, he wasn't really that good. Golovkin would have destroyed him. He lucky he didn't fight Golovkin. He fought Cotto instead. That's how people, they go back and forth. This is why fights need to happen. And we need to stop leaving it up to fans saying, oh, he's never fought anyone. They never fought, so he doesn't deserve a shot. Adonis Stevenson to just keep going on without. And this video is not about those two, okay? Because I'm not even saying I'm not wrong. I'm not mad at Stevenson for wanting a big shot. I mean, he's not young. He started his career yet late. I'm not mad for him wanting a big shot, but we do know there's some kind of respect there, okay? Because he wants to get paid against Kovalev. That's his excuse. He's calling out guys that are not likely to knock him out. He's calling out Bernard Hopkins. He's calling out Carl Froch. We know we don't want to see a Carl Froch fight. No one is asking for that fight between Stevenson and Carl Froch. We're not asking for that. Now, against Bernard Hopkins, that is a competitive fight. But is Bernard Hopkins knocking Stevenson out? He might beat Stevenson by decision. Is Bernard Hopkins knocking anyone out? No, he hasn't knocked anyone out in 10 years. But Kovalev is knocking everyone out. You know what I'm saying? So stop protecting your fighters, all right? You want to make a valid point? Let's talk about, we can debate. We could bring the resume into, the debate. It's easy. We're always going to do that as fans. But don't use it as an excuse of why a fighter shouldn't fight another fighter. Okay? That sounds like you're protecting the fighter that you favor, all right? I want to see a lot less than that, all right? Even, like I said, even the fighters that I criticize, I still think they should get their shot to prove themselves, all right? But I'm not going to be protecting anyone, The fights need to be made, all right? So anyway, give me your thoughts or whatever on debate and on the topic. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter.